Hello and welcome to the All About X-Men Comics podcast, where you'll find recaps and reviews of all the most recent X-Men comics, as well as previews for upcoming issues. Please keep in mind this will mean spoilers and include adult language. I'm host Scorpio Moon, an X-Men fan who's so obsessed I actually record myself talking about them, and hosting with me is...
Johnny Alpha, and I gotta say, man, this is a great time for us to be doing this show, because, like, the books just seem to actually keep getting better and better each week. I mean, even books that I didn't like actually look up this week, so, I mean, like, I'm really fucking excited to do this episode.
Yeah, man, me too. Definitely an up week. And first up this week is Uncanny X-Men number 15. While technically an Inhumanity tie-in, Bendis really makes the most of it. It basically gives him a free issue to play with, and he does, with jokes on pretty much every page of at least the first half of the book. It's not silly, stupid slapstick, though, and the beauty of Bendis' humor is that even when he makes a funny, he's telling you something about these characters. The teen girls of Uncanny X-Men band together to make a united front, just like when you and your siblings try to ask your parents for something together. For me and my sister, it was always a puppy. This is all about having a school for mutant soldiers, as well as having to be teenagers, like I mentioned in the previews last week, and that when you have kids, I don't care how militant you want to be, you have to entertain them. And this is the new Xavier School having to deal with the fact that kids are kids, and especially that teenage girls are teenage girls. And these girls just want some basic things and stuff. They want to go shopping.
Well, yeah, and I mean, like, they really make their case in point. Like, when we were doing the crawl up the hill in the mud, I made a point of saying, like, Tempest wore her little skimpy dress. In this, that's all she has. I didn't know that, you know what I mean? She doesn't have any other clothes. Jean, which cracked me up, she's wearing that ugly green cowboy shirt. They stole off the clothesline and battled the Atom. I mean, these girls are, like, actually hurting for some clothes. So, I mean, their like, little shopping spree was definitely much needed. And the fact that Jean had never actually gone shopping properly because she's from the 60s, we're gonna go like the girls on TV. Yeah, man, just classic stuff in this book.
Yeah, man, I love their lines with that, too. I mean, the whole just like normal kids thing, I mean, even all the jokes with it, like, they're really kind of funny and kind of heartbreaking at the same time.
Right.
Luckily for them, though, when your headmistress is the former White Queen of the Hellfire Club, and one of your head teachers can teleport people in groups, you get to go on the kind of shopping trips that those normal kids can only dream of. So yeah, by the time it's all said and done, they're in London's Piccadilly Square, stop off to do the kind of eating they would never do in front of the guys, and naturally things eventually get a little catty, but before they can ruin their own fun, Inhumanity rolls in. The Terrigen mist bomb explodes all over the world, and Inhuman cocoons right outside where they're eating, and, the whole world is obviously in chaos as this is going on. Crowds of people, emergency responders everywhere. The X-Men try to lend this guy a hand, but are only greeted with anti-mutant racism from this new Inhuman. He knocks them all out with his power, and then AIM shows up and whisks him away. When the X-Men wake up, magic ports them out, and they ponder what impact global Terrigenesis is going to have on the world, especially concerning human mutant affairs. I think as fans, we all have the same questions as these characters, but after reading this issue, I feel assured that Bendis is going to make the most of the X-Men with whatever Inhumanity throws at them.
Right, and I think that some of them might actually be taken in. I don't want to jump ahead, but, like, there's another book we read this month about the mutants finding a poor girl who got the Terrigen transformation, and technically she is evolving kind of like how your average X-Men would. I wouldn't be surprised if she ends up at the Jean Grey school, and with some of these other people, if AIM doesn't get to them all first, I think some of these new Inhumans might actually end up as de facto mutants in some way or another.
Yeah, man, I think a lot of the young ones especially, because like we see in that issue later, the mutation kicking in at puberty thing really reflects what a lot of the young kids are going through. It mirrors it. It's kind of the same thing.
Right. But, I mean, getting back to the fun part of this issue, how great was that when Emma just pulls down that fucking Breaking Bad style suitcase, duffel bag thing, just stuffed full of money. And they're just like, where did you get this? She's like, I was the White Queen for years, man. I have money. You can have some, but it's mine. Remember that? It's just like, Emma's so gangster, man.
Yeah, it's one of those moments that does make you kind of say, like, maybe this is a school I want to be part of. Fuck yeah for this kick-ass team of X-Men. Nothing says borderline criminal renegade like giant piles of cash.
Right. Well, I mean, in the last issue, they were jiving about fucking robbing casinos, her and Magic. So, I mean, Lord only knows what they're actually doing behind Scott's back, you know what I mean? Because Magic and Emma have both somewhat been villains in the past, and they're not exactly the good X-Men, you know what I mean? So that's how we've always kind of looked at this Uncanny team. In some way, brotherhood, but, I mean, they're not going to ever attack humans, you know what I mean? But they will fight against them if the fuckers, you know, come at them with disrespect.
Yeah, when I said borderline criminal, I probably should have just left out the borderline part. Right. I mean, Emma Frost cleans up pretty nice, but there's just no turning it off, you know?
Right, yeah. I mean, like, some shit's just fun, and you can't let go.
Plus, 3 cheers for knowing what Magic does while she's away.
Right, I mean, like, cool. I mean, that was really neat. Dude, yeah, she's just going back in time and learning how to use her magic from Doctor Strange.
I mean, at least some of the time while she's away. Somewhere in the past, which I guess is an important part to add. Because maybe it's a little weird to train with Doctor Strange nowadays. You've got to make it a little more elusive, a little more covert.
Yeah, because he's got so much going on.
But yeah, I mean, it's cool just to get a little answer for that. You know, like I said, Bendis basically got like a free issue.
And he really made the most of it. I mean, he made it fun. He put a lot of laughs in there and stuff, but I mean, there was nothing wasted. There was nothing that you're just kind of like, why did he put this in there? You know what I mean? This was a great issue that laid a lot of groundwork. You're getting towards the end of this beef between Celeste and Jean Grey, which was really cool. Like, Jean Grey's like growing some balls, and she's like just straight up talking shit, and like Celeste's like, I hate you, and Jean's like, I know, bitch, I'm saying it so you can't hear me. Like, we're gonna get this out of the way, man. And then, like, yeah, Magic and Emma just sit there. Yeah, they're probably going to start fighting soon. Yeah, I mean, it's good for them. They need to do this eventually. I'm just like, yeah, right. You guys are so gangster, man. The Uncanny chicks are so awesome. Even Kitty, I mean, she's letting her hair down a little bit, even though she didn't want to. And that whole thing with Scott Summers, like, okay, is it a Sentinel? No, man, we're going shopping. You can't come, Dick. Stay here.
But yeah, I don't want to undersell that at all, because, yeah, the humor really, really works in this issue. Especially scenes like that. So, do we want to go thumbs up or thumbs down and buy it or skip it?
I'm going to go thumbs up. Like I said, there was nothing in this issue that you're just like, why did they put it in there? They explained a lot. They covered a lot of ground. And they're also using this book to really try to help you understand what's going on with the Inhumanity in a way that, like, they haven't really done in tie-ins before. So I'm going to have to say buy this as well. It's fucking excellent. It's really excellent.
Thumbs up for the way Bendis gets you to laugh at things that should make you cry. And for a really kick-ass team of X-Men. And buy it. Uncanny issues generally tend to work pretty well on their own. I could have easily read a full issue of Girls' Night Out, don't get me wrong, but it's the X-Men, so you know something has to interrupt it. So if it's gotta be something, I guess it might as well be Inhumanity. Okay, next up is Wolverine and the X-Men number 39. Wolverine and Cyclops were a bit disappointing in the beginning. I like Scott's simple, emotionless, "Hello, Logan," and Wolverine just growling back, but as far as the conversation, they seem to be just going through the motions. They make a point to show Logan being non-lethal with the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, though. I suppose that is a nice touch. Meanwhile, in the school, it's goofy plots as usual. I enjoyed seeing homework doled out as the fun training activities, but this plot with one of the S.H.I.E.L.D. infiltrators being in love with being a fake mutant and just wanting to hang with the kids and have fun seems kind of amateur. I mean, it's just this whole, he's gone native thing. It's worth it for the end, though, when you see that the kids of the Jean Grey school knew they were being infiltrated all along. And they were just kind of toying with the one guy, waiting to see if he'd make the good guy decision or join in with his crazy partner's mutant-hating, take matters into our own hands approach.
Yeah, the squid face chick. And I gotta say, you're right, man. That last panel where Quentin and all them are just knuckling up, you're just like, man, your three faces are going for the fucking ugly stick ride, bro. I don't know, man. I have to say that I kind of really enjoyed that aspect. I mean, sure, it wasn't the most original, but I think that this is something that Jason Aaron actually kind of hit on the head with Joey Three-Face or whatever his name was. I kind of actually felt for him a little bit because, he liked Brew, you know what I mean? And, like, the Squid Face chick, she's trying to tell him that Brew eats deers outside and stuff like that, and, like, they're all trying to kill people, and he wasn't falling for it. I kind of like that, man, and this issue was, like I said at the beginning, it was one of the ones that's actually really looking up. I like the stuff between Scott and Wolverine, especially the stuff how Scott makes Wolverine look like such a damn hypocrite. I give Aaron a little bit of props for writing that in his own book, you know what I mean?
Wolverine and Cyclops definitely get their licks off at the end. Kind of like how I thought that, the beginning didn't work too well for the kids and stuff, or at least I didn't like the intro story as much here. Like, it totally pays off in the end. I mean, I don't think I've ever described the kids of the Jean Grey school as looking epic before.
No, I mean, and you really couldn't call them anything else at the end of this, man. Like they were ready to knuckle up, man. Like just sitting there grinding their fists. I'm just like, fuck, you two are screwed.
Yeah.
They have a shark girl. They have a shark girl.
Yeah, we have a shark girl. But yeah, man, like you were saying, Cyclops and Wolverine definitely get their licks in on each other at the end. So the whole like to be continued thing that was a little unsatisfying in the beginning of the book at least gets a little bit better. I mean, they're working on their goodbyes for this series, so they take a minute to remind you what's in a lot of these kids' hearts. Sometimes in an ironic way through the agents' misperceptions of them. But yeah, getting back to Logan and Scott at the end when they're both dealing with their powers being on the fritz, that was probably one of the better parts of the comics. I love what an odd couple they make for. They really are like this. They fight like this old married couple, but So, as they're fighting on the run, we finally get the better conversation. I mean, I don't know, like, I'm always just kind of expecting more out of it. So, I mean, like, even as I'm sitting here right now, I'm still kind of questioning whether I have a right to really be disappointed by it. But, I mean, Wolvie and Psyche have pretty much the perfect point-counterpoint throughout, and they're both completely in character. Wolverine's all, anger, 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 I'm gonna kill you. And Cyclops points out that Wolverine seems pretty killable himself right now.
Yeah, you got a big old gushing bullet hole in you, bro. You're going to make fun of my eye lasers, and you're going to call me the liability when you're the one that's acting like you're still unkillable when you're bleeding to death right here, man. You know what I mean? Like, you're a hypocrite, Wolvie. I think Scott won most of the verbal battles, in my opinion, but I am on his side of this schism, so...
Well, I don't even know if there's so much as battles as them just kind of, like, arguing things, as they're just shouting things at each other. Logan calls Scott, like, the new reigning scariest mutant of them all, pretty much. And tells him that being the good guy gone bad is probably the reason that other good guys like S.H.I.E.L.D. have gone a little further down the dark path. But then, there was practical Cyclops points right back out in his face that all the idealism, good karma in the world won't make Logan look any better in the public eye. And also that running around in full emotional attack mode isn't very smart, especially when you're vulnerable. So Wolverine, classic Wolverine, responds by being extra bleeding heart idealistic and running off in an even stronger emotional attack mode. I guess Mystique's plan failed, though. They're not going to kill each other down there, and they'll probably continue this dance for quite some time.
Right. I mean, we got 3 or 4 more issues left of this arc, so it's just getting warmed up.
For quite some time, I mean, the next couple years.
Okay, yeah.
just Wolverine and Cyclops, back and forth. But, I mean, I think you're right, man. I think generally they write, at least Jason Aaron seems to write lately Cyclops as being, more the one-upper in their debates. It's very rare that Logan comes out looking like the better one.
Which is weird because I figured Aaron would be writing his book's called Wolverine and the X-Men, and he's writing Wolverine to look like a hypocrite. I find kind of, I don't know, almost cool. As bad of an Aaron basher as I've been lately, so I mean, I'm going to give him a little bit of cred for that.
Maybe he gets a half a bounty bar.
Yeah, I break him a little piece off.
You can have a bite. But, do you want to go thumbs up or thumbs down and buy it or skip it?
I'm going to give this book a nice kind of medium thumbs up. It was neat. This title's actually looking up for once. I even like what they were doing with the kids, and I like some of the descriptions about Quentin Quire, even though he acts so rebel, he's terrified of leaving the school and stuff like that. And I found that all to be kind of true, and I think that that's cool that they're finally bringing that up in it. But I'm going to go ahead and just say skip this for now. Get this when it's collected, and see if it actually turns out to be a nice, good story all the way around.
I've got to go thumbs up. I'd say it's honestly pretty average, which is pretty good for this title. And I'll also go buy it. I'll go buy it because, let's face it, you want to read Cyclops and Wolverine, so why fight it? Speaking of Wolverine, let's get some of our Wolverine titles out of the way. First, we'll do Wolverine number 14. The first page is pretty great, actually, for just those little moments that I think sometimes make this book. Like Wolverine reminiscing about how he changed his accent to sound less posh and more like his poor-ass girlfriend Rose. Or what unspoken signals the patch identity actually conveyed. These are, of course, just memories. Snap back to reality, and Wolverine's getting the shit kicked out of him, barely even putting up a fight.
They should just stop calling this art killable and call it The Passions of the Wolverine. Because that's all it reminds me of is that movie that Mel Gibson made about Jesus. And he's getting his skin ripped off. He gets whacked in the eye with a ninja sword. He starts getting punked on hardcore by Grandpa Racist Mall Cop. And you end up finding out that that's Mystique. And she was just doing that to, torture him even further. Showing him how the fucking racist, abnormal person reacts. And, actually getting to him because he starts believing it himself. And I mean, it's all the tragic shit you can just shovel on to a poor bastard. They really did to Wolverine in this fucking issue.
Passions for the Wolverine. I love that. So once again, if you like suffering Logan, well, here you go.
And there's a ninja from the hand called the Meat in it. You know what I mean?
Oh, like, Jesus Christ.
How would you like to be the Meat?
Dude, they are just really getting fucking ridiculous trying to find hand anatomy things. I mean, what's wrong with just the first 5 ninjas? I mean, he can't beat them anyway. So why do you have to add more? Get into the muscle and the sinew.
And the meat.
Yeah, like, what was your joke from like an episode or 2 ago? It's like, come on, I think the hangnail is actually next at this point.
Well, I mean, like, the meat. You say the meat, I don't think of a part of the hand. I think of, you know what I mean? Like the big Italian guy from the movie Porky's, you know, he wasn't called meat because of his hand.
Yeah, well, maybe that's what's coming for Wolverine next.
Might as well rape him now. I mean, they beat the shit out of him and all kinds of horrible things.
Aye, freaking aye. So, I mean, yeah, obviously they're trying to do the whole break his spirit thing first, too, I guess, which is why Killable has to be so long. And as each attack weakens him more and more, and he becomes the scared, backed into a corner animal. You know, he mauls the ninja who's supposedly surrendering and slashes at the rent-a-cop you talked about, who sticks his finger in his face all racist-like, you know, even though it was actually Mystique. So they're trying to say that he'll kill innocents and, you know, drag him down spiritually, too, as they're slowly, like, getting to the point where they try and actually kill him. For some reason, he's stupid enough to actually believe it when he's down like this. I mean, sure, tons of innocent people have died around him or inadvertently, but I mean, he doesn't usually slaughter people way below his moral pay grade. I mean, unless it's in Wolverine Max. Yeah,
unless it's in Wolverine Max, then anything's game. But regular Wolverine like this, yeah, I mean, like you said, I think he's just lost so much blood. He probably hasn't been hurt this bad since Fatal Attractions. You know what I mean? It's been a decade since he's got his ass kicked this hard. So maybe he's highly suggestive at this point. You know what I mean? I'm going to go ahead and suspend my disbelief a little bit because motherfucker's bleeding out of several crevices in his body, not to mention one of his eyes is almost scooped out. So, I mean, he hurting.
Yeah, man, yeah, they've been dragging this out over a long time, and they hit and they run, and they hit and they run. I mean, that's the whole point of it, like, to slowly wear him down. Which I know Sabretooth did Wolverine before, back in one of the previous volumes, but it's almost like they're kind of doing, like, a Bane kind of thing, like Wolverine's Nightfall, where they make him fight through everything before he finally gets to the end bad guy, and there's, like, nothing left of him.
And what's up with Sabretooth all clean cut in a suit? He looks like fucking Triple H, for fuck's sake. I mean, he doesn't look like Sabretooth. Like, Sabretooth's supposed to look like, I don't know, like James Hetfield singing for Manowar or something like that, you know? Just, like, you really gonna wear your nice-ass tux to do that? Or are you gonna wear some damn fucking ass-kicking clothes, you know what I mean? You wear, like, a punk rock shirt with the sleeves cut off and some fucking jeans, so you don't mind getting bloody. I mean, that's how I always expect fucking Sabretooth to be. The Sabretooth that I'd know, I mean, like, if he was gonna, like, not be wearing, like, his goofy fur clothes, he should, like, have a Motorhead t-shirt on, you know, some fucking nasty-looking jeans, some biker boots, you know, and just like, I'm gonna fucking cut your head off, little guy, or little one, whatever he calls him, and run. But that's just a minor nitpick, like, the fact that Sabretooth's just like, oh, you know?
But yeah, speaking of Sabretooth, he does finally show up for our cliffhanger. And as that's going on, the invaders finally actually attack S.H.I.E.L.D., and that about sums it up. So do you want to go thumbs up or thumbs down and buy it or skip it?
I'm gonna go thumbs up. I mean, I gotta admit, I half-assed liked this issue. It was pretty cool, and like it was just neat to see how much shit they could pour on Wolverine. But I'm gonna go ahead and just say skip this, you know? I mean, like, get this trade paperback if you're interested in seeing Wolverine go through all the shit that is Wolverinely possible for him to go through.
Yeah, getting this in the trade sounds like a good idea. Because I've got to go thumbs down, because, I mean, I guess it takes this many issues to break Wolverine down to this point, but it's just dragging on and getting kind of boring, quite frankly, because I'm not feeling any of the emotional weight that this arc should have. So also, skip it. And just hope that, like with most Marvel X events, the fallout and the consequences of Killable end up far surpassing the event itself. Okay, now we're going to do Wolverine Max number 14. Wolverine Max has another pretty bitchin' cover drawn by Jock.
Yeah, I really think it was just a leftover from his run on Savage Wolverine, because it really has fuck all to do with this issue. I mean, it looks more like something that had to do with his Savage Wolverine than this, so they're just like, hey, Jock, this is cool, can we use it? You didn't use it for yours, and he's just like, yeah, whatever, man, as long as you pay me.
Alright, good segment, man. Should we just stop there?
Oh no, I got like okay positive for this. Like, the art's different. There's actually nice art in it. It's not that nasty-looking chicken scratch art. In this issue, we get to see, even though a lot of it's imagined, we get to see more violence than we've seen in this entire fucking book. So, I mean, like, if you want to see, like, Wolverine Max finally get bloody, this is, like, the issue for you. I know I said last week that it was going to be like David Lynch, but this was more David Cronenberg. The beginning of this just hella reminded me of that movie Cosmopolis. They're riding around in a limousine just talking shit, and Wolverine's fantasizing about murdering dude. And then somewhere along the middle of it, it turns into, like, if the Sopranos guy directed 100 Bullets movie and put Wolverine in the middle of it, how it would go. I mean, I really don't understand where he's taking this and why he's doing it this late in the fucking series. You know what I mean? I'm at a loss, dude. I know you said that when the series is ending, they can do whatever the hell they want. But, I mean, at least fucking try to make a story out of it. Do you see anything resembling, like, a fucking turn, a phrase, or to actually explain what we've been reading about this entire series happening in this fucking finale, bro, at all? Because I don't.
It seems like they're basically just about to start a whole nother arc of same old, let alone something that's going to wrap up the series.
Yeah, that's how I see it. It's like they're setting up for an arc when, like, we only have one more issue to go. Thank God. But I mean, how much shit are we gonna have to, like, try to trudge through in this last issue next month?
They're gonna have to pull something out of their hat to, wrap up this series in anything even resembling a satisfying fashion. You have to go with your positives, though. They're pretty much the same as mine. They do okay with the violence. I mean, it's, like you said, it's mostly all imaginary in the beginning. At least they are kind of drawing Wolverine-type violence that you wouldn't normally show in just like Wolverine and the Archies or something like that.
Yeah, like claws going through faces and stuff like that. It's pretty gangster, you know, pretty gruesome. It's finally something that you'd expect to see in a Max book, but it's imagined, and it's just so horseshit that, like, it's really non-eventful, you know what I mean? You're like, wow, there's a claw going through your face, but, you know, you can tell that it's just imagining, and this Wolverine is written so flaccid and so stupid. I'm having a hard time. I mean, like, I know we were bagging on the last book, but, I mean, at least they write Wolverine with the somewhat intelligence that he's supposed to have. This book should be shit for brains, Max. I mean, like, he has no intelligence whatsoever. I mean, you fucking piss in a toilet and it's smarter than this Wolverine is.
And believe me, we're gonna get to that. But, first I just want to say that, honestly, I think the way they have him daydreaming about killing people here is almost a little sick. I mean, as much as Wolverine can give into violence and enjoy it in the moment, I don't really think he's the kind of guy to get joy out of, like, doodling, like, sketches of murdered people in his notebook during class. Like, I mean, he doesn't seem like that kid, you know? Wolverine's taunt about how lucky this guy is that he's in control right now. At least seems in character. And, yeah, I guess there's supposed to be a plot here, you know, in the whole 2 issues that we have left. This guy that we're daydreaming about killing, he's the son of a crime boss. He's the one who left that note for Wolverine about going to Vegas, and now he's picked him up in a limo to deliver him to his dad. He's a pretty snarky asshole and makes jokes at Wolverine's expense about his memory loss, which is something you should probably never be able to survive doing. And he even plays a fucking prank on the guy. And this crime boss, of course, just wants Wolverine to work as his hired killer. Yeah, I mean, same old plot, you know, whatever. He goes through every trick in the book to do it, too. He goes through the I knew you before, offers him insight into his past, tries to buddy up to him, you know, it's blackmail, bribery, manipulation, you know, piss him off and say, see, look how quick you are to fly off the handle. You really are a killer through and through. But eventually just settles on, you'll do what I say because I say. Want to guess how that ends up? So Mr. Crime Boss sends Wolverine on a job to kill, I don't know, whoever, the name doesn't matter, and sends his son along as the handler. Wolverine tries to flip the script and actually warn this guy that he's being targeted, but soon there are guns out, people shooting, and next thing you know, Wolverine's gone nuts and just murdered everyone in the room. Or I mean, technically the porch. I don't think they even got into the house, but anyway, I know it's probably kind of sad that it took me this long to figure this out, but I'm beginning to understand what it is that I really don't like about this book and why. And I mean, Johnny, you pretty much said it, because, you know, it's stupid Wolverine. It's shit for brains Max Wolverine. Guess what they're doing kind of chronologically or story-wise here is that this Wolverine is very young, very inexperienced, and even quicker to fly off the handle than he is in continuity now. You know, which is why on this podcast we often call him shit for brains. I mean, this is supposed to be an updated origin kind of thing. So maybe, I guess he really should be kind of younger now, less mature in his development. But his characterization here, and, you know, these types of stories, I think would maybe be better suited for something like the Origin sequel, where he actually is at that point, or one of the 3 or 4 sequels that will probably follow that one.
Right. This is supposed to take place now, you know what I mean? If they said, like, yeah, this is supposed to be in the 60s, that would be one thing. It would be interesting, you know, to have, like, young Wolverine hanging out with mobsters and shit in the 60s. I'm all for that. I think that we're probably going to get that eventually in the Savage Wolverine book, you know what I mean? I'm all for that. This is just like, ooh, yeah, Wolverine, it's Wolverine Memento. I don't know. I'm not digging it, man.
Another thing I really don't like, I also really don't like the swearing. The problem is that, once again, it makes him seem too, like, youngish. Like, when he calls people assholes or drops F-bombs, I mean, even if Wolverine is a guy who obviously shouldn't have a problem with foul language of all things, it's not really how old people curse. And Wolverine is kind of like an old fuddy-duddy, you know, so he should curse like one. Even if he could swear more in the comics, I don't think I'd even want him to, you know? Like, shit like flamin' just makes more sense and seems more in character.
Honestly, I think if Wolverine was able to cuss more, he'd call people stuff like cocksuckers, you know, like old-timey swear words, like you're saying. He would call them assholes, he'd call them, like, cocksuckers and stuff like that. The way that they have him cussing is to try to appeal to young people. It's like, ooh, well, you just got somebody a motherfucker, ooh, you know? It doesn't really work on any kind of cool level. Like we said before, like, Phantom X Max makes so much more of an impact with saying, I'm going to punch you full of more holes in the Lilith Fair. I mean, sure, it's vulgar and it gets its point across. You know what I mean? It's saying something in a very kind of clever way, which I find more entertaining than, like, you're a motherfucker, me.
I mean, I guess in some ways I'm kind of warming up a bit to what they're trying to do here. Or even at least to have a handle on it, like what they're trying to get, and like why my brain won't reconcile the young old hang-ups, for example, that I have. But the stories of an emotionally regressed juvenile Wolverine can just never live up to the hype of what a Wolverine Max comic might have been. So even when I kind of enjoy parts of an issue, even like this one, it's really hard for me to say I'll be afraid or sad to let this title go.
Fucking end it now. I don't even need the last issue, so.
Alright, so, thumbs up or thumbs down, and buy it or skip it?
Thumbs down. This is just, I don't know, like I said, it's really taking this nowhere near something that should be like a finishing point for this retarded comic, and skip it because this is taking it nowhere near an ending point for this retarded comic.
Yeah, thumbs down here too. It's pretty much just same old crap that I've come to expect with each issue. They've got Wolverine chasing his own tail, just like the series itself is. So totally skip it. Even with some of the stuff I liked, I've seen it done better before, and with more impact. And while we're on this nice little ranting roll, let's do A plus X number 15.
Oh, well, you might actually be surprised with my my insights on this, so.
I mean, dude, I hate this comic. I hate this comic so much. I'd love to just let my bias run free, but honestly, it wasn't all that bad.
No, I mean, the Beast Doctor Strange thing, I had so much fun with. As bad as I wanted to hate it, and how bad I was just like looking for it to be like this Spider-Man Magneto from last month. No, dude, they surprised me. I actually got a good half of a fucking book this time, and I'm a little ecstatic about that.
Of course, that had to be the short one. I mean, generally, at least one of the 2 stories in this book is so short that it's almost pointless. I mean, it's hard to get any enjoyment out of it on any kind of plot level. But I mean, I give them a lot of points for playing up Beast's association with S.W.O.R.D. You know, the Sentient World Observation and Response Department. And the way Doctor Strange just sort of shows up on his own. You know, because that's what these kind of guys do. They show up to deal with things that fall under their wheelhouse. Beast and Strange are one of those stupid science versus magic debates. And as ridiculous as a suspended animation yoga class is, it kind of works that, you know, while searching for spiritual enlightenment, they read out loud from the wrong book of Alien Gata Davida and get tangled up in some kind of alien demon portal nonsense. It's of course done in like one of the most stupidest ways possible. You know, you have Beast and Doctor Strange jumping into the portal. They see it runs across time and space, so there's a whole multiverse full of alternate universe version Beast Sorcerer Supremes and, you know, scientist Doctor Stranges. And they want to use a magical MacGuffin from Dormammu to kill the 616 universe and seal the rift, I guess saving all of reality or something. So of course Beast materializes like right next to the magical thing. He just like yanks it out and yells, "Run!" as they speed off cartoon chase style.
And he socks one of like the old like 60s looking Doctor Stranges, which was hilarious, man.
Yeah, man. And if comics ever get like real like audio visual like inclined with digital comics or whatever, I mean like, you know, yakety sax would be playing in the background.
Right. was a lot of funny clips between the two of them, like Strange. One of us is right, and the other one is covered with blue fur. And then at the end, like Beast is like, yeah, one of us is right, and one of us is wearing horrible pajamas. Just, I don't know. I got a kick out of the way that the guy wrote this, and I mean, I really like Dream Thief at Dark Horse, so I should have expected this one to actually be as good as it was. I mean, I know we kind of ran it down in our preview last week, but I'm actually kind of happy that I enjoyed reading the Beast Doctor Strange portion of this book.
And at this point in the podcast, I think we've already talked about it longer than it took me to actually read the damn thing.
Right.
But anyway, it all traces back to the Impossible Man, of all people, who can't stand up against a whole multiverse full of characters, and he frees the yoga people. The end. So on to the, or any more comments on that before we move on to the second Cap team-up?
No, I got it pretty much out of my system. Except for, like, they drew Mr. Impossible looking a lot like a green Jason Statham. I thought that was kind of cool.
Curious. So, okay, when we left Psyche and Cap, they were trying to rescue a Skrull guy from Dr. Doom, but Psyche's power fizzled out and Doom blasted the Skrull to death, mockingly saying, "Now you can have him, get out of my castle." So they blew the mission and ran away with their tails tucked between their legs, and Doom even broadcasted the event online, because why wouldn't he want to? I mean, he can gloat about besting the leaders of the X-Men and the Avengers. There's a joke about YouTube mixes being made by people online set to Yakety Sax, which, if you ask me, just came a few panels too late. But anyway, S.H.I.E.L.D. considers doing damage control and spinning a story that it was actually Deadpool impersonating Captain America in Latveria, and two great things come out of this. First of all, Captain America says no, Deadpool's been through enough. Obviously referencing what they just went through together in the last arc of Deadpool, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, that Cap co-starred in. I mean, sure, it's the same writer, so I mean, obviously that's what he knows, but hooray for continuity.
Yeah, I mean, like, at least they show a little bit of actual 616 going on in this ridiculous comic.
I like how Cyclops corrects the S.H.I.E.L.D. robot guy by saying no. Deadpool isn't even an X-Men anyway, and wonders out loud, why do people always think that, though?
Well, there was that arc with Danny Way where, like, he really wanted to join the X-Men and he was going to assassinate, who was it, Mercury's dad, because he was, like, part of the whole Dark Reign thing. He was working with Norman Osborn to make the X-Men look bad, so he had that X-Man fucking X-Men suit that he made for himself, and, like, he was going to snipe dude to fucking win Cyclops' heart. So I guess maybe that's fresh in a lot of people's minds. I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of. I mean, he was in X-Force, but it's way different. You know what I mean? X-Force isn't actually supposed to be known about by anybody besides, like, Cyclops and Wolverine, right?
Yeah, man. I mean, that was supposed to be the idea. And then even Cyclops decided to cancel, and then, Wolverine took it up on his own. But anyway, yeah, so, he took that on his own. But, I mean, they kind of have, like, slowly been bringing Deadpool more related to X-Men stuff. And you do kind of think of him as a mutant in some ways, and what he basically seems to have, like, a Wolverine-style healing factor anyway. Even though Deadpool's is now more regenerative versus just healing. Which, I mean, Wolverine's is at this point, too, now. I always kind of wrote that off as probably just being, like, secondary mutation. But, I mean, we had the whole debate about bringing Deadpool into the podcast. So, I mean, people all over the world generally just kind of associate Deadpool in an X-Men kind of way now.
Well, I mean, he's defined as a mutate. He's a man-made mutant, so that makes him a mutant by de facto, you know what I mean, in my opinion. He wasn't actually born one, but he was turned into one, so he is one, you know what I mean? He's just not a natural one.
Yeah, but it's not really that much different than having Phoenix powers, or maybe in some ways some of these Inhumans.
Honestly, like, the bird chick that we're going to get to in another book that we read this month, I mean, she reminded me a lot of the character Beak from the Grant Morrison run of New X-Men. So, I mean, like, I don't really see the difference between even proper superheroes like Spider-Man and fucking, the Fantastic Four. Those guys are basically people that were turned into mutants by scientific mistakes, in my opinion.
What's it called again? Maybe the whole Inhumanity thing will even kind of have people turning more and more against just all superpowered people in general, and I don't know how that works, though, because then you have to go down the superhero registration route again to pick out who are the good ones. But, I mean, that is kind of one of the things with the X-Men, too, is, like, the hypocrisy of racism. Like how superheroes are seen as good guys if they got their powers by accident, but yet mutants are awful.
Right, right. But getting back to the A+X issue, there was some things about the Cap Cyclops thing that I really liked. Enter Emma Frost and the Cuckoos. Man, this really is what made this part of the book interesting for me. The Cuckoos giving Captain America shit, asking him what was FDR like, and then when he tells them, they just giggle at him and tell him he's so old. And then the whole thing that, like, they basically allude that Emma Frost wants to jump Cap's bones. She's like down to fucking like help him out and fight for him and stuff like that. And she obviously thought some kind of dirty thought because the Cuckoos were all giggling about whatever she was thinking about Captain America. So I found that kind of a cool little part of this little story.
Oh, that was the best part about the comic, man.
Right.
I mean, like the self-referential jokes with Deadpool being an X-Men stuff. Like, I mean, I totally got that. The ID gags got a little old for me. They were old as soon as they made the joke the first time. But one thing I did love about the goofiness in this series is because it at least let the Skrull guy not be dead.
Right.
Like, they wouldn't let him die for real in this, goofy, innocent cartoon of a comic, right? So they make it that when Doom blasted him, he used his crazy biology to move his internal organs around so Doom would miss them. So it's really only a flesh wound. And the guy's even playing possum to boot. So he wakes up and is all smiles and jokes about food and Skrulls eating bison or whatever. And I don't know, I just kind of felt kind of bad for the poor guy. I'm glad he could not be dead.
I mean, like you said, they don't ever kill people in cartoons. I mean, unless you're watching anime, I guess.
It just made me feel all warm and fuzzy. And for once I was like, okay, I guess not everything has to be serious and doom and gloom. And he agrees to help Slick and Cap find the renegade mutant Skrulls, but only if they'll give him food. Kind of like a criminal in interrogation who will only talk for like a burger and a cigarette or a soda or something. In the meantime, Slick and Cap both call for reinforcements. This is where we get your Emma Frost. Emma shows up at the burger joint looking hot as hell, and then she and the Cuckoos kind of veer back and forth between mocking and wanting Captain America. Like, how did that joke go again? It's like, tell us about FDR because you're old or something.
Well, it's FDR, like, he's like, oh, you guys aren't interested, you just ask. And they kind of giggled and stuff, and then, like, they're like, no, we're really interested, and he tells them, like, well, he was okay, he had his quirks, but he was a good American and stuff like that, and they just like, you're so old, like how little chicks do. It really reminded me of the Clerks cartoon, where they were on trial, and the prosecutor had Dante be interviewed by two giggling teenage girls. That's what it kind of reminded me, like, Cap was going through.
Yeah, I love it, man. And Cap totally just fell for it too. I got a good chuckle out of that. And I mean, I don't know what was up with Emma wanting Captain America. Even the Cuckoos, I think, had some impure thoughts.
Well, they're dirty little girls that wear fucking schoolgirl outfits all the time, man. They ain't right.
Yeah, good point, man. Good point. So I mean, I think we spent a little bit of time on it. I mean, I hope we're not selling it short. Because again, I mean, trust me, for me anyway, this was like the best part of the whole comic. And I mean, these girls are the smartest characters in it. They recognize exactly what's going on and that the little bison burger joint, or whatever the hell it's called, is actually the safe house for these Skrulls. And like all the waiters and the people are actually the Skrulls in hiding. So then the big fight breaks out. Ant-Man turns the tide and they win the day. But the evil invasion plot figures to be even bigger than they first suspected.
Pow pow.
So, thumbs up or thumbs down, and buy it or skip it.
Man, I can't believe I'm saying this, but thumbs up. I love the Doctor Strange Beast segment, and I actually really like the Cap and Psych segment for once in this title. I'm not going to say buy it, but definitely looking up for recommending the trade paperback at some point for this. So just skip it for now, but the trade might actually be worth looking into if this book keeps like this.
Yeah, man, I hate the stupid comic, but I've got to go thumbs up. The Slate Cap thing has a pretty well-constructed story. And they're kind of breaking their gimmick by involving a lot more A and X than one character apiece. I'll also go buy it. I think you won't regret spending money on this. But if you want something really good, go Cable and X-Force number 17. What a fast-paced, exciting comic. They know exactly when to skip from scene to scene and how to keep things clicking. So Hope runs out of Cable's TK while fighting the Reaver construction, and gets knocked out of the picture while Cable is getting shit-kicked. Jump then to Dr. Nemesis and Forge trapped in Forge's mind, while the adversary is wreaking havoc with Forge's body on the outside world, which he's possessed. He's altering reality all over the place, but he can't escape the bunker because it's made of steel, which I guess is like one of his weaknesses. Kind of like how Superman can't see through lead, this guy can't cross through steel. So it's got him caged unless he can, find a way out. I guess his plan is kind of like goad Boomer into using her powers to like blast a hole somewhere in it, let him out. Forge decided the best way to end this threat is to have them kill his own body. stopping the threat and saving the world from what would happen if the adversary escapes. I mean, first of all, like, come on, like, no one else can defeat the adversary. I love how they use Dr. Nemesis to make fun of how in comics everything is always the most dramatic, world-ending thing ever. Like, come on, Forrest, you really have to die to save the day? Like, how sickeningly melodramatic.
Right, I mean, yeah, just keeps calling him an idiot and telling him that, like, no, dude, I can figure this out, dude, just give me a minute. No, I need to die! No, you don't, dude, you're a fucking drama queen, dude, you're an idiot and a drama queen. Shut up and I'll figure this out. And, yeah, dude, their relationship is just classic in this.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with that. Meanwhile, Colossus and Domino were sledding on a Sentinel head down a hill ahead of the avalanche, working on trying to cause another explosion to redirect the avalanche away from the town. I figure an explosion started it, so yeah, fight fire with fire, and send the snow blowing back. They don't even know if they're blowing up the right Sentinel parts, but, you know, Domino tends to get lucky.
Like she points out, and like, I gotta say, she does it way, way sexier than Longshot, especially the way she points it out. You know, I have a way of getting lucky. I mean, fucking Dom kicks ass. But yeah, figures a way to, like, use the Sentinel core for some grenades to make an explosion. And, like, the whole thing, Colossus is just being such a downstairs, it's not going to work, you're doing it wrong and shit. And she's just like, nah, man, like, whatever, you know, I'm lucky, dude. 'Cause she didn't have to point it out constantly like Longshot, you know what I mean? She's just like, dude, shut the fuck up. This is what I do. I put this in here, it's gonna blow up the way I want it to. You know why? That's my fucking power, bruv.
Yeah, man. She doesn't have to get, like, saved by Thor flying through at the right time, something extra goofy. I think what Dom actually has is action hero luck. Like, you know how in action movies they can survive against incredible odds and pull off stunts? Like, I think that's kind of how Domino's power works.
She got, like, Bruce Willis luck power?
Yeah, man, exactly. Like, just the just the power of action movies and, like, that suspension of disbelief, the way that shit works out. That's kind of what I see her power being inspired by.
Right, and dude, like, I knew that she was just going to be able to do something, make it work, it'd be cool. She did actually make a quip, which is somewhat similar to the shit that we've been reading Longshot do, but I gotta say, I appreciate it a lot better, and, like, I don't know, Domino's always been one of my faves since she came out in X-Force number 7, so it's just really cool seeing her be badass.
I think some of it rubbed off on Boomer, because now Boomer has the power of comedic coincidence, and she accidentally does exactly what she needs to do. You know, tripping over the lever to let Dr. Nemesis out of Forge's mind, or out of Forge's brain.
That was so classic. She was like, well, do what now? And you just, oh, I did it. Just like...
Yeah, I mean, before that actually wraps up, we jump back to Cable getting stomped. You know, the bad guy's jovial attitude about it, I think actually really represents this comic well. Drinking beer and having fun kicking around poor Cable, while a more serious villain might, I don't know, maybe just kill him. And, you know, that's this comic. It's perilous without taking itself too seriously. It's very self-aware, and just like Hope, it has no shortage of attitude. Speaking of Hope, just when all seems lost, she comes charging in to save the day at the last minute. She might be out of TK, but she still has plenty of juice left from Cable's telepathy. And she's mind-controlling all the little Reaver brains that make up this giant ball of cyborg monster. It exhausts her, but the day is saved. So now to wrap things up, when Boom Boom tripped over the Mind Machine lever, it zapped Dr. Nemesis out of Forge and back into his own body, but had the somewhat unintended consequence of taking Forge and the adversary along with it, putting all three of them into the mind and body of Dr. Nemesis. This is actually even better than the original plan of just letting Dr. Nemesis out. Now that we're all inside of his brilliant mind, he simply snaps up a mental steel box to contain the adversary, because, well, that's just how mentally disciplined and in control he is.
Yeah, I mean, like, he really is that much smarter than Forge. I liked it, that he was able to fucking prove it finally.
Yeah. Oh, shit. In Dr. Nemesis' mind, this takes like a second. And as we fade to the end of the issue, they nonchalantly mention that they should probably check back in on the teams that got abandoned at the beginning of this, and Dr. Nemesis gets to gloat over Forge. So, thumbs up or thumbs down, and buy or skip it.
Always with this book, thumbs up. A lot of fun, a lot of laughs, a lot of cheeky moments with good-looking girls, so yeah. And I'm going to go ahead and say, yeah, this is the end of the story arc pretty much, so just get the trade paperback in a month or two. It's going to fucking rock. Great read. If you're not buying this issue already, it's going to be an amazing read.
Yeah, man, thumbs up here too. I mean, thumbs up because they're proving you can have a serious story without taking yourself too seriously. And I'm going to go buy it. A lot of times mutants don't get to be proper superheroes fighting crime, because for them everything is kind of personal. And even here, X-Force is really just fighting for the fate of the race. Although they do work the Forge thing in, how often do you actually get to see teams just going on missions and doing the day-to-day ass-kicking that they're supposed to? Okay, a special treat this week, we're also going to cover Inhumanity Awakening #1. We don't normally stalk every single mutant all over Marvel Comicdom, though someday we might. But this has a special focus on the students of the Jean Grey School, so we just couldn't resist. This issue finds Quentin and the gang helping with relief duty from the Inhumanity event, moving rubble and rescuing survivors. I pretty much always cringe at social media references in comics. It's just kind of a natural reaction, like an instinct. But this issue especially has really turned me around to the idea. The thing I like about it is how it adds to the realism, or at least the plausibility of these kind of things.
Well, right. I mean, like, he really broke it down to the way your base two-side party was looking at this kind of a situation. They got the West Coast Adventure guy, who's kind of like this right-wing conservative guy, commenting on how he feels about mutees and all this horrible shit that they're going to do. And then you got this liberal chick from Florida, Miss Mutant or whatever, and she's really the bleeding heart side of it. And you kind of, I know that it's the two extremes, but paints this very vivid picture of how it would actually be seen, at least by the two de facto sides, to make up the social media of American entertainment right now.
Yeah, man. What I love about what it does is because when you see things like that you've seen before happen on the internet, but over different topics, first of all, it grounds it in the real world. Like, I look for examples at, like, look how sometimes zombie movies, or especially like the Walking Dead TV show, they ignore the fact that zombie movies, like, exist, or are a thing that even exists. Like, they act like this is the first time they've ever seen such a thing, which kind of makes it like an alternate reality in a way. So sometimes it helps to not take real things out of your fictional world, cringeworthy as they may be. I might not want to read about, the Thing updating his Twitter status with his giant rock fingers or whatever, but, seeing as it's something that they might be doing, like, when it actually is included in the universe, it just helps, it seems a little more realistic.
I gotta say, dude, Matt Kent is a hell of a writer. I've been a fan of his graphic novels for a long time. His book that he did at Vertigo, Revolver, is actually one of my top 20 graphic novels. I have a video about how much I love his graphic novel on my YouTube. So just seeing him tackling a really cool Marvel book like this was awesome. And also him taking some characters that are not usually written very well in their own series and running wild with them and writing them more intelligent and better than they are in their own book. I couldn't get enough of. I mean, I loved the way he portrayed Pixie and Quentin. Not to mention he brought a couple characters I'm not familiar with, like Stryker, into the mix, and I find him a very interesting character, and the way that Stryker is able to talk to this inhuman girl and talk her out of being so damn suicidal by, look at you. You got this Facebook crowd that loves you now. You dictate your own conversation. These people are listening to you. That's your power. Your wings don't matter now. You're a fucking celebrity. You could be a good one or a bad one. The choice is yours, but this is your power now. You are famous. I loved that aspect of this book. It really just kind of made it really interesting, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, man, let's get into the plot so all that makes sense. So Pixie's been following this new Inhuman girl on Twitter, who's been tweeting her experience, and her story has gone viral, including parts where she's bullied and assaulted for being different. And when her feed stops, Pixie's worried that the girl has decided to kill herself. She can clean up as kind of small potatoes for these X-Men anyway. So Pixie decides that they're going to save this girl. And by they, I do mean them, because she really stands up taking leadership of the team and says, this is what we're doing, and teleports them to the girl's house, where they find the kid mid-suicide. So, special people don't just kill themselves any old way. And her plan was to fly as high as she could, and then bind her own wings mid-flight so she'd plummet and die. Pixie makes the save, and it gets pretty sappy. It's not all after-school special, because we see in the meantime that her brother has also transformed. And by the way, I think her brother might have been one of the trolls on either the Facebook or the Twitter feed somewhere in there. But he's also been transformed now. He's run away and become a kind of supervillain. So they don't let you wallow in the sentimentality too much. They keep up that superhero story pace. And that leaves us with our to be continued right there. But I'd call it a very satisfying issue.
I'm hooked in this Inhumanity. I haven't read Infinity yet. Like I said, I'm waiting for it to wrap up and the trades to come out for it so I can run through it. Thus, I'm not going to try to get too into Infinity, but this title has me just so goddamn intrigued with what's going to be happening with the total Marvel Universe, not to mention the X-Men. Like I hinted on some of our other reviews, we might be getting some new Inhumans in the X schools, which I find might be very interesting, you know what I mean? These people that are now de facto mutants, they're going to be treated and discriminated against the same exact way. So to try to be like, oh, they're not a mutant is rather silly. It harkens back to they first relaunched the new Ultimate X-Men when Nick Spencer was writing it, and Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, was part of the team because he was best friends with the Iceman, and they were always teasing him, and he always really wanted to be a mutant. And it's like, you're not a mutant, you're a superhero, dude. Quit being a poser. Kind of reminds me of that, but I found that very interesting that fucking Johnny Storm wanted to be a mutant that bad. And I think maybe some of these Inhuman kids are going to be that way because I don't see Black Bolt standing up and trying to take them all up, you know. And even if he could, what's he going to do? He can't fucking talk, for God's sake. If he does, he'll break the world in half. So what's he going to do to help these kids?
Yeah, man, it's got to be someone. Or, I mean, maybe even like you said, like maybe someone like Stryker. When was the last time he did anything really cool?
Yeah, I mean, like, usually you just kind of see him in the background flying, you know? They actually let this asshole talk for once, and I'm like, he's an interesting character.
Imagine that. So, what are you thinking here, man? Thumbs up or thumbs down, and buy it or skip it?
I'm going to give this a thumbs up. Thorough read, very interesting. Really lets you know what's going on completely with this Inhumanity without actually having to be in the core book of it. And not to mention it keeps it in this whole X-Men realm that we're in because of the X-Men kids, you know, who I usually consider the Archies. But in this, they actually are acting like X-Men for once, which I fucking really loved. So I'm going to say buy this. It's excellent. It's very well written. Matt Kent knocks it out of the park. And yeah, Inhumanity Awakening #1 all the way.
I'm going to go thumbs up. Best use of trendy social media shit in a comic that I've ever seen. I mean, as fantastic as a mist from the sky that transforms people may be, seeing a Twitter feed of reactions to it, especially ones written the way real people speak and act, makes you say, yep, that sounds about how people would react. So I mean, no, you don't suddenly believe that it was real, but it seems a lot more plausible when you're saying to yourself, yeah, that's probably how it would all go down. It also took the best elements of the last days of Astonishing and mixed them with all the best potential of the Jean Grey school as portrayed in Wolverine and the X-Men, and made them into my favorite story out of any of these Infinity series. And I'm also going to go with buy it. I hate to see a quality issue of anything just sit on the shelf. Okay, so now let's move into our previews. We'll start with All New X-Men #20. Man, I wish I wasn't just thinking of this now. But if they're bringing X-23 back to the new Xavier school, I don't know, man. A Weapon X facility might be kind of a hard sell.
I'm not even thinking about that. Since last we talked about the Love Square, I've kind of put something else into my mind, that this is going to be a very interesting retelling of the love triangle between Scott Summers, Wolverine, and Jean Grey. Because this time it's not going to be Wolverine and Cyclops fighting over Jean Grey. It's going to be Jean Grey and Wolverine fighting over Cyclops in a roundabout fashion, which I find almost hysterical if they play it out like that.
How much slash and fan fiction did Bendis have to read?
Right, but I mean, like, I don't know. All New's been a great title from the get-go, and, like, I'm glad to see that they're expanding the team, and, you know, it's going to be neat that they're going to have a Wolverine of their own, you know, they're going to have the Wilf, but I like her better than actual regular Wolverine, personally, so good for that team.
I'm still kind of stuck on this first thing, man. I mean, I mean, Kiss or no, like, you know, whether the Kiss cover is, like, a decoy or a real thing, it is going to be confirmed that Cyclops is at least attracted to X-23, which, I mean, like we were just talking about, I mean, come on, like, a female Wolverine his own age, I mean, that's gotta be present-day Cyclops' wet dream. He can finally profess his true hidden love. It's just too much, man, it's just too much.
Right. I just saw this, it was like a meme that somebody made. It was actually very well drawn, and it was like the true schism between Cyclops and Wolverine. Basically, they were both like in their boxers in the same bed. Cyclops was like, Logan, listen, and he's just like, get out, Slim, we're done, and basically alluding that they fornicated drunk that night. I found that quite hilarious, and that's kind of what we're getting back to with this ideal, I think.
Yeah, man, yeah, I saw that meme too, and that shit was kind of funny, and yeah, I mean, one of these days, man, that's what I've always been saying. We're also going to get X-Men #8. Typhoid Mary is actually going to accomplish sneaking into the Jean Grey school mansion. The question is, will she get away with it? Also, Rachel gets a line that has already made this book awesome for me.
No shit, what'd she say? I didn't read the previews.
Oh, she's got a thing about how this is why I always sleep in my full uniform.
Oh, man, she's a gangster. I mean, I kind of sometimes wish she'd go back to the little green and yellow outfit that she wore, like when Claremont was writing X-Men before Brubaker took over. But I gotta say, man, I'm really liking the red and yellow trench coat thing, man. I don't know, it's pretty hot. You know what I mean? She's got like this kind of like fireman dominatrix thing going on for her. It's awesome. But I don't think it'd be comfortable to sleep in, personally. You know what I mean? Especially like if you're gonna be like hooking up with her and try to snuggle. I mean, it's like you got your trench coat on, babe. You know.
Like what was the old Batman joke? Like, try firefighters, less to take off. From Batman Forever. But yeah, no, but I mean, no, maybe it's not the most comfortable thing, but maybe it is. I mean, that's like her uniform. That's what she lives and fights and tries not to die in. For someone from an apocalyptic kind of future, like you would like just always be ready to go every second of the day.
I suppose, but in this last issue we had of Uncanny, all the chicks all made fun of like wearing the same outfits over and over again and getting really stinky. So maybe like in a de facto way, kind of making fun of this issue of X-Men that's coming up.
Oh, a little back and forth, maybe.
Well, the Bryans seem to be really getting along from what I've read in interviews of them. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't put jives at each other in each other's books, type of thing, you know, just for fun. I would if I was a comic book writer. Yeah,
man. Awesome. Well, let's just keep looking out for them. See how many we can find. Let's see. Next week, we're also going to get Uncanny X-Force number 15. So here we go. The end of this arc with the Revenant Queen, Cassandra Nova. And then after that, I guess the X-Force crossover, and then that's it.
Right.
The title. I mean, until it's reborn.
Honestly, I know that we're getting just X-Force by Cy Spurrier, but I guarantee you that the actual Uncanny X-Force title is not going to sit dormant for too long. That book will be relaunched within the year, I guarantee you.
But yeah, still, I mean, my philosophy on this is just get it while the getting's good. But I mean, I don't know if Uncanny X-Force, after this last issue of this arc, is still going to be the same. Like, I don't know what the crossover is going to do to it. Like, I don't know if it's going to be the same kind of, like, quasi, like, weird kind of title, or if it's going to just kind of, like, blend into what the event needs it to be, like other books have done. Alright, so I mean, yeah, what happens between here and there, or whatever, we'll see, but in some ways, I just feel like this might be the last true issue of Uncanny X-Force as we know it.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
We're also going to get Cataclysm Ultimate X-Men number 2. So, why were the Ultimate Comics X-Men dragged into Cataclysm, only to be taken out of it and set into the middle of nowhere? Will this miniseries have any point to it?
Don't think so. That's about, I think, all we can say for that one, man. I mean, I don't have any insight or any particular excitement to this. I think it's cool that it's told from Rogue's perspective. I'm just upset that it's such a shitty story.
Yeah, there's really just not a lot to get fired up about here. I mean, just gotta wait for the issue, I guess. But at least we'll also have Deadpool number 21. Now, apparently the X-Men aren't the only ones at war with S.H.I.E.L.D. Remember all the way back to the very first arc of this run, when a certain faction of S.H.I.E.L.D. failed to pay him for services rendered? Not to mention how he has a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent inside of his head. So while it's nice that he won't have to cope with the events of the good, the bad, and the ugly alone, he understands her loss now and is extra motivated to try and set things right for her.
Gangster. Love Wade. And I love when he gets his I need to get paid story arcs going on. That's a few of my favorite things that Danny Wade did with him, so this look, it sounds like it's going to be great.
Yeah, S.H.I.E.L.D., where's my money?
You know, he's a stickler for it, too, because, like, he was owed this money. I mean, I don't know if you read The Dark Reign, but, like, he was owed this money and stuff, and, like, he had to go head-to-head against Bullseye, who was Hawkeye at the time. Basically, it turned out that, like, Hawkeye ended up just paying him the $60 million to get fucking rid of him, dude. It was hysterical. But we might be seeing something like this pop off between him and S.H.I.E.L.D.
Like, there's got to be a joke about getting your presidents for killing the presidents. Or something like that. Because the arc where he killed the resurrected president corpses or whatever from the very beginning.
Yeah.
No one's talking about, like, the actual president.
No. I mean, like, they've had to a couple times. I mean, like, there's this really funny part, the trial of Captain America, where Clint Barton's going on and on about how upset he is Bucky was an assassin for the Russians, and he's like, well, how do we know this guy didn't kill JFK? And Tony Stark looks up at him and goes like, Clint, you retard, we did that. He was a Skrull. So, I mean, like, at Marvel, they have a lot of sense of humor with presidential assassination in the past. I mean, that was written by Brubaker, and it's one of my favorite things ever. But, yeah, dude, it fucking cracks me up when they do things like that.
Oh man, that's a riot. That's a riot. What also might be a riot is Longshot Saves Marvel Universe #4. Now this book is weird for a number of reasons, but partly because it doesn't really have like a main bad guy. I guess more accurately, the problem's that, the bad guy is caught up in the problem of the plot too. I mean, like, no way would the in-betweener want to be split like that. So I'm really curious to see how they resolve this for everyone, especially when you have more than one thing to resolve. Like, even if you patch up the fabric of reality, like, Longshot still has this guy out to kill him, right?
Right. I mean, like, even though that they're broken into two sides, both sides still want to kill him. I mean, like, the good in-betweener is, like, he's still not, like, a good guy, you know what I mean? And the chaos in-betweener, he just, like, wants to see shit break, you know what I mean? So, white, good, supposedly good side of the in-betweener is more evil than the chaos side, personally, but...
Yeah, because he's organized and doing awful things, but just in the name of order.
And like you said, this book, I mean, it doesn't even really have a fucking plot, let alone a fucking bad guy. But I mean, random and it's silly, but in a very good way. They pull a lot of things out from the past, a lot of unknown things, a lot of things that you had to have read or to remember, characters and stuff. And like, I'm having a ball with it, you know what I mean? It's almost kind of like what they're doing with Uncanny Avengers right now, bringing all the 2099 and future characters that we had in the 90s that are also kind of forgotten, you know? I mean, I really like that a couple of these writers are just trudging through the past and bringing up these kind of weird, esoteric, unknown, unused characters, or versions of characters.
Hey, speaking of Uncanny Avengers, issue 15 is coming out next week. The Mutant Rapture is finally starting, so that's something. They're going to take the time to show you scenes from all the schools of mutant teams, all being teleported up by this spell. Which kind of seems to me like just an easy way to fill a couple extra pages and drag this thing out even longer. But I don't know, maybe if they don't go through all those steps, I'd think it was rushed and complain about how these mutants just showed up out of nowhere.
I think Reminder's just hurt that he wasn't involved in Infinity. Damn it! Hickman, you should have just included poor Reminder in Infinity, you know what I mean? And he'd just be writing Uncanny Avengers the way he usually would have, instead of trying to make Uncanny Infinity or whatever the hell we're getting out of this. But I'm enjoying this, but like you said, dude, there's a lot of draggy, and there's a lot of, setup and story that, I don't know, it could be condensed. I don't know, maybe when we get the entire fucking story, if we get the core book and the trade paperback for it, if it just doesn't come out to be one of the greatest reads ever, it's just issue to issue. It's very nerve-wracking reading this title right now.
Yeah, man, it's work. I mean, but they usually end up being pretty readable, as much as we kind of complain about it. As Wolverine's going to fight the Reaper and Daken, they seem to be giving this speech to him. So, I mean, look, no surprise, they don't actually give a shit about the Apocalypse Twins or their mutant salvation. They're just happy to kill a world full of humans. And, I guess they just want to kind of gloat that they outsmarted the good guys. But as they prattle on and on about how the bad guys worked together, they bring up a good point about, the good guys not even always getting along. Who's to say that this mutant paradise is going to work out anyway? As soon as they get there, they'll probably just schism over what to do with it.
Right. I mean, you killed Professor X, you fucking... Yeah, it's how it's going to end up, and everyone's going to pick their sides once they get up there, you know?
Yeah, man, so human or mutant or whatever, people just inherently conflict. That's why this world is worth fighting for, I guess. Because it's not like it's going to work out any better anywhere else. I mean, there's already a couple good little things to kind of think about and talk about just off the previews from Uncanny Avengers. So even if it's kind of irritating, I doubt that it won't be interesting.
Right. I was just guffing off a little bit, man, about it.
No, I do it every week, too. But, speaking of keeping things interesting, let's spike the punch.
Spike it up, bro.
Oh, yeah!
Spiking the Punch is a segment where Johnny and I each recommend one non-X-Men related comic book. Johnny Alpha, do you want to lead us off?
Yeah, I'm going to lead us off with a little window into my previous spikings. It was really hard for me not to pick Coffin Hill #3 this week. So I'm just going to say that Coffin Hill 3 is out, and it's fucking amazing. Buy it and read it. But my spiking of the punch is an Image comic called Dead Body Road #1. Dude, it is like that Painkiller Jane that I spiked with a month ago. It just hits the fucking ground running. This book is just awesome, you know what I mean? It's a heist, revenge, noir thriller at its best. Basically, these guys robbed this bank, but they weren't even there for the money. There was these accounts that this guy was supposed to hack where these people hid their digital money that they were going to rip off, basically. And it all goes wrong with the killing of a female cop that shows up to the alarm, who is dude's wife, who is out for the revenge. But basically, the hacker guy and some of the other guys involved in the job ran too because they got freaked out because they just wanted to get paid. They ain't killers. So we have the schism between the villains, and the hardcore, hard-hitting gangster villains are going out and killing the lesser hacker kids and stuff involved in this, who are a roundabout way in their dying moments helping Guy find the true villains. And I mean, this book is drawn dirty, it's written dirty, and it's just fucking a great dirty read. You know, I love books like this. It reminds me of Stephen Grant's 2 Guns and 3 Guns from Boom Studios. Just really good, kick in the ass, like heist noir revenge tale.
I love the kind of smart criminal. Like, as soon as he realizes that, like, shit went a little sideways, he's like, wait, I'm not part of this crew. I'm just a hired extra hand. Oh, shit, I'm a marked man. And he just busts out of town. And calling all fans of crime comics here, if you're the type that sometimes likes to leave the costumes at home and just need a badass with a big gun and a simple motive like revenge, here you go. I do love a good revenge story. I mean, I found it a little bit predictable, but it didn't really make it any less satisfying for me. I think the dead cop was a great motivation. I don't even mean for the character. I mean, of course, like, you know, your wife being killed on her job as a cop is a great motivation for revenge, but also for the audience. In the very beginning of the book, that look of terror and shock on her dead body, you know, that expression, like, you really get the feeling that she died horribly. I mean, no, she's not all mutilated and stuff, but just a real ghastly expression that drives home the emotion of the moment.
Right? And our guy is a very virtuous vengeance seeker. The hacker kid who got smoked on trying to leave town has a girlfriend that he's looking out for, that these villains are going to be looking for too. And our hero is going to be, I guess, protecting her for the rest of the book while seeking his vengeance, which really makes him quite a bit different than a lot of the, you know, like, I don't give a shit, I just want my vengeance kind of characters that we get in some of these books, which kind of makes me a little more excited for this tale too.
Yeah, man, even with that extra kind of motivation, it's still pretty straightforward, but you do have a lot of parties at play. I mean, you've got the crooks who robbed the bank, the guy they work for, the bad guys that they robbed, the guy whose wife was killed, you know, our main character, and then this girlfriend being brought into it. So I guess the question here is, can they keep the streamlined, fast-paced, just a kind of straight-up storytelling up, or will it eventually just fall and collapse under its own weight when they all have to come crashing together?
I'm not sure. I mean, like, this is Image. I always have such good high hopes with them. And with a few of their crazy noir books that they've done like this, like Blue Estate and Green Wake, they're very awesome. They hold true the entire run. Sure, they only run about 12 issues at longest. But, I mean, god damn, you get just such a great fucking off on its ear kind of crazy action film put on paper. You know what I mean? And I love those kind of books.
Well, I mean, no matter which way it ends up, whichever way it goes, I mean, either way, I think I'll agree that Dead Body Road #1 was a nice start.
Pow pow.
And this week I've got Clown Fatale #2 from Dark Horse. I love a good case of mistaken identity. So you've got these 4 female circus clowns who are part of a traveling show. They're kind of white trashy, down on their luck types. They come from abusive backgrounds, which led them to fleeing to the circus. But now the ringmaster guy in charge is running another dominating game on them. So they've basically traded one abuser for another. One night, while drowning their sorrows, a man approaches them with a job from a crime boss. He needs some killing done, and he wants out-of-town talent on it. A traveling circus might, in theory, actually make a great cover story for a criminal outfit, but it's actually the Russian knife throwers who are the assassins, not the clowns. These girls, having nothing much else to lose, really, eventually just kind of end up playing along. They pass their first test and end up taking the job. Of course, they have no actual training, and everything gets done in the most explosive, out-of-control way possible. I mean, this team is just a filthy, hot mess, man. And the more things that they have to contend with, including the knife throwers team not liking someone else on their turf, taking their jobs, you know, the more just absolutely out of control things get. There's just ass cheeks, clown nipples, circus animals, and blood, man. It's a constant disaster.
Yeah, bears squishing people's heads. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, some of them seem to have some ingrained just badassness. Like the Asian chick, Freak Show, knows how to kill pretty good right off the bat. Same with the black clown chick. She seems to be a badass brawler. So, I mean, they may not be completely trained killers, but they seem to be able to get the job done. And I really like the Kiss one, especially, yeah, she's got the fucking Star Child eye makeup and stuff. It's very sexy. So this was a very funny, very kind of cool book that I'd never even heard of until you told me that you were spiking with it. So it was a pleasure to read. It really reminded me of Quentin Tarantino movies of old, you know, the kind of shit that I wish he'd get back to making instead of fucking shitty black cowboy movies. I gotta say, man, this was a great spiking. A lot of fun.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Yeah, I love I love having a character who's like a Cloud Cuckoo Lander or an Ophelia, like that cute little crazy chick who always seems borderline insane or spouting nonsense, but then they combine it with like making her an action chick, which the other characters in the comic would never suspect. So, you know, it's kind of like River from Serenity. I love characters like that.
Yeah, they thought that she's just kind of loopy and a weird chick, but, like, when it comes down to it, she's catching knives and throwing them back, and she's getting Guy right in place so the bear can squish his head when she commands it, and the little Asian chick, she got it going on. Freak Show, I think her name is. Yeah, she's probably my favorite character in this book.
So this week I'm spiking the punch with Clown Fatale #2, mostly for the grindhouse exploitation vibe.
Right, and it was amazing with it.
Yeah, man, you mentioned that kind of Tarantino-ish kind of influence or whatever. Yeah, that grindhouse exploitation vibe. I love it. Okay, so segments. What have we got for segments this week, Johnny?
In your face, homie.
All right, yeah, let's do an in your face. I loved how the Reavers compliment Cable on his call and response retort while one of their guys is kicking him. And then when they see the Reavertron rolling back in, they chuckle about how, you know, it's finished taking care of the brat. As Hope rides in on the thing, she throws it right back at them again with, turns out it is the brat. And she's used the Reavertron gun to blast them into oblivion. How do you cyborg bastards like verbal sparring now? In your face, Reavers.
In your face! In your face!
And my in your face is going to be Les Frimmel book, and basically in your face about two different books. Mine's going to be Inhumanity Awakening #1, and how it is what Wolverine and the X-Men should have been, at least after the third arc. They shouldn't just keep focusing on these kids in school and them having little fucking teen hijinks, man. They should have them out doing missions like this book. So, Jason Aaron, Matt Kent wrote a better Wolverine and X-Men book than you. In your face!
I love it. And can we both actually kind of agree that the pirate ships in Cable and X-Force was kind of just in your face at Amazing X-Men?
Her quip, dude, what Boom Boom says. You can come up with anything. You can create anything to come at me with, but pirates. I mean, I can't help but see that Hopeless was punking on Jason Aaron. I mean, honestly, he can create anything. I mean, he's running away with this new X-Men title that's just extravagant. He could get away with anything. And fucking pirates! In your face again, Jason Aaron!
Did you get to guess right that issue?
I wish.
Anyway, I think we also have sexiest moments this week. Johnny Alpha, do you want to lead us off with the sexiest moment?
Oh my.
Yeah, my sexiest moment would have to be Emma Frost sleeping, face on the pillow, butt up in the air, in her little gym clothes. It was cute, and it was very sexy, and especially the other girl's retorts to it. Look, she sleeps like a toddler. Yeah, she sleeps like a toddler, dressed like a teenager. It was very sexy, very cute.
Yeah, man, I loved it. Face down, ass up. That's the way she likes to sleep.
Pow, pow. Emma Frost makes X fantasies come true. We both have talked about that on several occasions.
Yeah, man, she really does. And my sex with a capital X sexiest moment of the week also is Emma Frost related. And I almost really kind of hate to do it, but I guess I do have to give it up to A+X #15 this time. I mean, they totally blew it with Emma previously. And I don't want to say that they totally made up for it, because that was a really big disappointment. But, you know, the reason that we don't always do a sexiest moment is because sometimes there just really isn't one, and I hate to kind of stretch it. But, yeah, when I turned to that page in A+X #15 and saw Emma in that book, like, that's one of those things where, like, you do, like a stutter step or a spit take. You just kind of, like, stop mid-page turn, and you're like, whoa. Like, it just catches your eyes right, and I'm like, yeah, that's going to be it. I know it. And it gave me one of those, so I've got to give the props where the props are due.
Especially that new uncanny suit with it's got like the little plus sign where like it comes around and like you get to see most of her boob. You know, it's really a hot outfit. You know what I mean? And black. You know, the White Queen in black. That's just it's got it going on.
Yeah, man, because they didn't really do anything that different with it. It's still just basically Emma in her typical outfit, but it just made me do that stop and say, whoa, sexy moment right there. There you are. Okay, so that does it for this week's edition of the All About X-Men Comics podcast. Don't forget, our new preferred home on the web is www.facebook.com facebook.com/allaboutxmen comics podcast. No extra dashes or anything of the sort in there. That's where you'll find us hanging out and talking X-Men pretty much every day. Feel free to leave us a comment, make a request, have fun with it, and we'll see you next time.